Well, hello, everybody. It's another week and another recap time for your professional lovers in training. Patty and
Al.
and we had a pretty good show again this evening. It seemed to be more calm as I think this week the theme was kind of getting to know the differences of how people do things in their routine and getting to know their thoughts about parenting
Intimacy.
and intimacy and
real life issues.
doing things together.
Mm-hmm.
So, who do we start with?
Mm-hmm.
We can start with Amani and Woody, who had a little discussion about child rearing, whippings, corporal punishment. So apparently Amani never got whipped, and Woody got whipped all the time.
Understandably.
So, but that was interesting because, parenting styles is another
Critical.
huge area of difference for couples.
I mean, that's a major dynamic that each individual brings to a relationship. And, depending on what you're accustomed to and what you're familiar with and how you were reared and
how you were parented.
Yeah. Or what you saw.
Mm-hmm.
If you had siblings who may have been different than you and how they were dealt with when things were askew or whatever the case may be. What was the discipline of choice?
Yeah, what were the methods used? Yeah. So, I mean, to be that opposite with Amani.
Mm-hmm.
Never getting whippings and Woody getting them all the time. At least he was kind of middle of the road in his feelings. He wasn't like, oh no, I'm going to tear their hides up. But he did feel like sometimes whippings are appropriate.
But again, I mean, for someone, I believe, who was beat or whipped for disciplinary reasons, in most cases, I mean, people have been in abusive relationships and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But in most cases, they can reflect on the fact that maybe they didn't need a whooping, but they did something to provoke that activity.
They definitely needed some discipline.
Right.
And it comes down to you really knowing your kid.
True.
And understanding what really makes a difference for them. But it leads me to our book, Becoming a Professional Lover. And tip number 44 says, it's supposed to be tip 43. Tip 43 says, parent your children together.
True.
That is the operative word.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever styles of parenting you and your spouse bring to the table, you need to get on the same page.
True.
You need to talk it out and get on the same page, because what you don't want to do is to
be played by your children.
And they will play you.
Truly.
They will find out where your weaknesses are, your non-follow through, and they will play you like a fiddle.
True.
And then they'll play you against each other. Yeah, so you got to work that out before the kids come.
Yeah.
Because you want to be a united front.
True.
When it comes down to that. So I can appreciate Amani and Woody beginning to talk about that and finding out that they have different ideas, and then they'll have to talk it through to get to a compromise with that. So that was a huge thing. And then I like the fact that, they also talked about their differences, which we are opposite at. She's a late night person and he's a early morning person. That'd be me.
I'm early morning too. I just don't sleep a lot.
Well, as in, yes, but it's not your preference.
What?
To have to wake up early.
No, because you got to start off working.
Well, I mean,
if I got up early, I get up early to play golf.
Yeah, but I can routinely, if I go to bed at a good decent time, say like 9:30, 10, I can be up at 5.
True.
Yes. And you
My,
routinely would come to bed at
midnight.
1,
Midnight.
midnight 1.
Yeah, not a whole lot
And
of
so
reasons.
we've never made that a real issue
No.
in our relationship. Like, it's not, I have always been interested in the couples who be like, come on, let's go to bed. Like, we both have to go to bed at the same time, like all the time. And I'm like, but if that's not what someone's used
Mm-hmm.
to, why does that have to happen? I mean, I'm. It just comes across sounding very parental
Yeah.
to say
Time
we
is
go to bed at the
bedtime.
same time, and no. I
Yeah.
mean, if it happened that way, okay.
Yeah.
But
That doesn't
often,
have to happen that way.
yeah, I'm always going to bed before him.
Oh, yeah.
And when it came to having a baby, that worked out very, very well.
True.
Because you did the late night
did the late
feedings and
shift.
I did the early morning feedings. It worked. It fell right into our preferences very well. So so I like the fact that they could talk about that and again kind of see those differences, and also talk about how they're at that love place at different.
Yeah.
I appreciate him asking her the question, knowing that I've said that, knowing that I've, said
Just
I'm in
even
love
being,
with you.
Being conscious of her feelings and her emotional state from him just being honest.
Right.
I mean, because women are thinkers. I mean, their brains are always moving. Guys, it's usually flipped where, cool, you said it. I'm good.
Yeah.
And usually it's the women dangling, well, how does he feel? And him asking if she felt any particular way, if she felt any pressure, or
mm-hmm.
do you feel as if you have to respond to that or whatever? And she was honest. She expressed it was a give and take situation. Sometimes she felt a little pressure, or she thought about it in a way that created pressure, in another way that didn't. So.
But the fact that he could even ask that and give her, I think that also gave her an out, as in it alleviated some pressure.
Definitely.
To know that I would feel some pressure or obligation to respond in like fashion.
Yeah.
And you don't just want to do that because someone said it. You want to say it because you actually feel it.
You mean it.
Yeah. And that leads me to Amelia and Bennett. And their relationship is so other-centered.
Yeah.
That they...
Other-centered.
Yeah. That they really are making it easy for each other. Mm-hmm. And then you said something that I thought was really cool about them. When he asked her, are there any things that I do that annoy you? And she couldn't come up with anything. And it made him feel a little uncomfortable that he could come up with one thing at least.
Yeah.
And she was like, and he kept naming all these things. And she was like, keep going.
I don't wear deodorant sometimes.
No. And I'm thinking, okay, that's TMI, because I don't want to know that you pick your nose, and I don't want to know,
Yeah.
But the fact that, he could ask that, and she, you said
that she doesn't...
That neither of them...
address negativity.
Yeah, they don't put energy into negativity.
Right. Yeah.
They can talk about things that could be negative, but they also don't take it personally.
Right. And that's what gives it energy.
And that's very cool, right.
Because when you hold something close to you, you know, there's a certain passion that you have that, you either protect your feelings with, or, there's extra involved in it. So when you don't allow that energy to make any negative situation an issue, then it doesn't have a place.
Yeah. They are truly learning about each other and not passing judgment on each other,
Mm-hmm.
which is
Yeah.
making their learning process extremely easy and enjoyable.
Yeah, it's enjoyable to look at.
Yeah.
As eccentric as it is.
And as scary as their friends are.
Yeah.
They are having a great time. And it's fun to watch. As quirky and weird as the surroundings in their environment and their friendships, it's still fun to watch.
It is.
It's a lot of fun to watch. Christine and Henry are slowest couple.
Yeah, but
they're making some little head waves.
They're smoothing out some edges.
First of all, they're paying each other mad compliments, which brings us to another tip in the book, which says, let's see, number 22 says, frequent words of praise keep happiness and joy alive.
Yeah.
It is nice to hear words of affirmation.
True.
And when he called her sexy, it threw her for a loop. It made her blush.
It threw all of us for a loop. I didn't think Henry knew that word.
Well, so, and yet they discovered, it did bother me when Amani took Henry aside, just the two of them. My first question was, why are the two of them going off? It seemed very staged. Yeah. Very produced. And then when Amani went back and shared with Christina what Henry had said, I was kind of like, that bothered me. Drama. Because it did feel like a produced type of, we're going to cause some drama to happen. And Christina did approach Henry when they got back home about the conversation and expressed how she felt like he was sending mixed messages, because why would you tell other people this but you're not telling me this? And I am the one that you should be telling. True. But they talked it out and came to some good understanding. Yeah. And then the questions in the bowl were really good for the two of them. Definitely. Because with Henry not being very communicative and Christina being a little impatient with his pace, it helped to promote some good discussion. Yeah. Some good
especially for them.
Hopefully that means that they are moving
in the right direction. Moving.
No matter how direction. Slow, she called him a turtle, but a cute turtle.
Yes.
A cute turtle. Olivia and Brett. Well, Brett started showing some of his underlying colors again tonight.
Yeah, they're typical.
I thought it was good how, he took Olivia to do something that he enjoys doing, and she got right in there and, and participated, and he was encouraging. Then she took him to experience something that she enjoys doing with her friends, and he acted like a butthole.
Yeah,
Once again, we're seeing how whenever Brett is uncomfortable or intimidated, he dismisses it. That's his way of lashing out. He dismisses it, calls it stupid. That's his favorite word, and belittles it and trivializes it. And we've talked about it before, and he did it again tonight. Yeah. And that was really uncalled for and unnecessary.
And you using the word intimidated, it really made me think about, his limitations. In his disciplined life that he's lived, and counting his pennies and all of that, he has chosen to not experience certain things. and I'm looking at him or listening to him talk about how something's not, that's not trivia. I'm like, whatever it is, it's not your game. They called it trivia. Accept
Just play
whatever it is.
along.
That's it.
Just play
Yeah,
along.
roll with it. And
But he kept feeling like he was being put on the spot when the friends were like, "Come on, Brett, what do you think?" Well,
I'm not.
because he's not good at the game, because it's not familiar to him.
And like you say, intimidating, I think, is a choice word, because again, the manner in which this game was being played, it was a thinking game.
Exactly.
And even as sarcastic as he is, and that's part of what I think that he doesn't really understand about himself. To be sarcastic, you really do have a unique understanding of just normalcy, just to be able to deal with it as opposed to shutting down, so you can kind of make fun of it or whatever. But he chooses not to even make fun of it. He calls it out, and he belittles it.
Yeah.
And like I said, intimidating to me is a unique choice of words, and I think he truly is intimidated because it's an intellectual level that he's not accustomed to living at. Maybe jumping in and jumping out, but I don't think that intellectual stimulation is his strong point.
Yeah, so he's going to belittle himself right out of a marriage if he keeps it up, because that does not lend itself to someone wanting to work toward anything, when everything that I do is stupid, because you're uncomfortable or you're not used to it. That's not going to bode well for them.
We'll see.
And our last couple, Karen and Miles, made a couple of strides. Now, it started off shaky, coming in from last week when he wrote on what I really thought he was being playful.
Yeah.
About putting sex with my wife on the calendar. She, in my estimation, overreacted, but it's not about my opinion. It's about how she felt, and she felt disrespected.
Yeah.
Now, not coming home though, with no word, leaving and then not coming back at all, that was disrespectful.
True.
Because when you're married, you don't get to just leave and that's it.
Yeah.
That's disrespectful from a standpoint of your spouse worrying about you, not knowing anything about you. And so when Miles was telling Woody that he was pissed, I can understand that. He had every right to be pissed. But when she came and said, this is how that made me feel, it didn't make me feel safe, blah, 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 blah. He listened and he apologized.
Yeah.
He didn't try to rationalize
He owned up to what he did.
Even though
it wasn't intended at all
to be taken the way she took it.
Right.
But you can't determine how someone else is going to receive something.
True. Which makes me think that there may have been some history that makes her uneasy. That's just me personally.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope that that's not the case, but yeah, I think that there may have been an encounter that, just she hasn't totally released yet.
And his being willing to say, I'm sorry, and her being willing to forgive. Okay, we got one more tip out of here.
There's a whole lot of stuff in this book.
Forgiveness and love will save a marriage.
True.
When you can forgive.
Oh, that's critical.
Then you're going to wipe away any kind of buildup.
Lingering.
Any resentment that may be there. If you can just say, I'm sorry. And then if you can forgive.
Accept the apology and move on, move past.
And not only did she forgive, but she made a huge leap forward with the couples yoga. Yeah. Yes, the couples yoga and massage, and it turned out to be a Miles massage.
Yeah, for him.
And
we kind of wonder if we got one here where we live.
What's that?
Couples was the hot towel
Like,
for the feet and stuff.
you that's what you want me to do.
I don't. It just looked like a nice
I
experience.
don't have a problem with intimacy, and I can do that.
Okay. We'll tell you about it later.
Later.
Maybe.
But certain things. But that was huge for her.
It was. It was.
And it showed her willingness to step outside of her comfort zone and acknowledge his need for physical touch and intimacy.
Also, it made me think if she had, had a real change of thought in maybe talking with someone, getting some type of counseling on, understanding that you're in a relationship. And yeah, you might have your reservations and so on and so forth, but this is your husband, and this is the person that you're supposed to be relating to under all circumstances. So if you do have a concern or whatever, that's one thing, but you don't just cut them off. I mean, you kind of work through it, and like he mentioned or wrote what he wrote in jest. And I mean, I think that she eventually realized that, okay, I didn't need to react that way. And then to even step on the other side of that line in the sand that was so apparent, to initiate something that caused a certain level of intimacy and partake. And it was for him. Because we didn't see the other side. It wasn't like they were doing each other.
Yeah, we don't know if he gave her the same kind of thing. It seemed to be just for him.
Yeah, I think he fell asleep afterwards. I mean,
I don't know about that, but he certainly enjoyed it, and it was nice to see Karen not just acknowledge his need, but to give him some of what respect his need for some physical intimacy. So it was great to see, and they also look like they're making some progress forward, like Christine and Henry. So I think we hit everything and hit everybody. And once again, we're enjoying those of you who give us feedback. And now I'm going to start naming names so you know that we are paying attention. Paula and Nikki, and that's all I can remember right now. But tune in next week and I'll name some more people, because there's several of you who are giving us feedback and kind of dialoguing with us. And we do. We really do. And some new subscribers. So we're going to start acknowledging you guys so you know that we are looking at our YouTube channel and the comments that are there.
And receiving your input, just like you're receiving ours.
Exactly. And so keep it up. Continue to stay safe.
Yes.
And respect other people and their health by doing what you can, not just to keep yourself safe, but keep other people safe as well.
Other-centered.
Other-centered. That's the key word for tonight's recap. Other-centered. Until next week, have a good one, and we'll see you then. Peace.
Enjoy.